Howdy folks, welcome to the bar. It's another tasting day. This is the Southern Tap, picture there, strawberry cider, apple and strawberry cider, which I done about a month ago. I'll put a link up to the original brew day, the mixing day. Go back and have a look. But this is one of those new kits that are coming out of New Zealand. So I've just poured myself a glass off the keg. I've got a keg of this, and I've bottled up a few bottles. And if you haven't seen the original video, it does talk about this on brew day. I've bottled up some bottles, one with stevia and one with some lactose, to bring in a little bit of sweetness, because I was a little bit concerned about how dry this brew was going to be, and wanted to see how a little bit of sweetness would go with helping it out. Discussed during the video was that the instructions said this was going to get down to 1000, 1002, quite dry. It said in their instructions that this makes a balanced cider, which is a little sweet and a little dry. I was thinking that just getting down to that mark, it's going to be reasonably dry. It's not going to be much sweetness left. And given that I sort of prefer a sweeter cider, I don't like it really sweet, but I do like a little bit of sweetness in a cider. I don't drink a lot of cider, but I do prefer it a little bit sweeter, and a lot of people do. So I know a lot of people that are making cider at home are using kits that, by and large, generally do make a sweeter cider. I think the reality is, market-wise, it is sweeter ciders are more common than dry cider. So we'll see how we go. So that's them. The bottle versions are a little bit clearer. I don't get why. The keg's been in. That's been on the keg now for week and a half, maybe. Yeah, probably a week and a half. Maybe a fraction. It wouldn't be any longer than that. It was kegged on the 2nd of July. So it's actually been in the keg for 5.5 weeks. So it's probably it may have even been on tap for a little bit longer. Can't say for sure. I tend not to write them and actually put them into the fridge unless I specifically remember. But yeah, the bottle version is much clearer. It's not holding much carbonation. That hasn't hurt. And again, this is only coming off the tap keg. The keg is running at a single pressure, so I haven't got extra pressure in here, extra gas. But some people might like with a cider. So anyway, I said these were bottled straight off the fermenter, with only the lactose and the stevia added, so there's no extra sugar for carbonation. So the kegs pick up a little bit extra on the gas that was. So if you're doing this at home, you probably would have put a little bit more sugar in there, as well as the lactose, to get a little bit more carbonation. But anyway, not too concerned about that. The original gravity was 1040. I've got an original video, and fermented went in at 19 degrees. Dropped to 18 after about a week, because it was sitting in the fridge with the sprocket. So it followed the same fermentation profile as the Sprocket did. Then on day 9, it was at 1002, all but done, which was the 28th of June. Then it was cold crashed soon thereafter, kegged on the 2nd, so which is 4 or 5 days later, with a measured gravity of 1002, and that's where she's finished. So alcohol content of 5%, with no extra priming. So like bang in where the instructions are saying she was going to finish. And it's finished sort of to some degree as I described. It's not really dry. It's not sweet. It does sit fairly nicely in the middle. There's enough dryness that you can get a tiny little bit of that pucker, but it's not enough to. It's not that sour pucker, but you can feel it in the mouth. But there's still enough little bit of residual sweetness there to keep it in control. I've had a couple of glasses of this now. Like I said, I'm not a massive cider drinker, but I do like a cider occasionally. Actually, I sat down and had a couple the other week when we're down the coast, we're having a card night, and I cleared out the old beer fridge, and there was a few ciders in there which I think have been left over from Christmas. So I sucked on a couple of bottles of those, and quite happily. But it's certainly not my go-to drink. But that's not too bad. There's nothing. I find nothing wrong with it. That's the main thing. Initially, I'm going to jump over here now. So as I said, I've thrown, checking which one, stevia. So a teaspoon of ready, the spoon for spoon stevia mix, and also lactose into a 750ml or 740ml, whatever these bloody things are, these Cooper's bottles. So it's not a massive amount by any stretch. But like I said, it was just to see how it would go with a little bit extra sweetness. So I'm going to start with the I'm getting myself, I've got them out of order here. I'm going to swing it around. Just so it's in order where I've got it written in the book, that's where I keep referring to. So this fella, just confirm, alpha lactose. Right. Okay, it's taken that little bit of that dry, puckery edge off. That's all it's done. It hasn't really created any extra sweetness. Not that I'm really noticing, but it has taken that little dry edge off. So it's pulling you back out of that dryness a little bit without getting into being sweet. And I think with that dryness off it, it's actually letting the flavour sit up a little bit more. Not a lot. I mean, it's only tiny. It's only a small difference, but it's allowing your palate to taste the flavour. Where there's the dryness there, it's pulling it out, pulling the flavour out of your mouth fairly quickly. As your mouth dries from that sensation, you're not getting that. Not the flavour is not hanging around that taste in your mouth. So it's got a little bit more interest going on. So we'll go to stevia, because obviously lactose is going to be generally the general way people are going to sweeten up sort of things. An unfermentable sugar that you can put in a bottle, it's not going to ferment out. It stays there. There are a lot of people who aren't going to tolerate lactose. So we go to stevia. Should give us the same level as sugar, so it should be a bit different to the lactose, but it's going to give us sweetness without any of the extra calories. So us people who like to watch our figure, this is a good option. Okay, that's probably taking the dryness away even more, but it's probably pulled that flavour down a little bit at the same time. Not quite as sweet as the lactose. Not that there's nothing in that says sweet. It doesn't scream at you sweet. Like if you're used to drinking a sweet cider, that is still going to feel fairly dry to you. It certainly doesn't get into that sweet category. That's probably starting to get a little sweeter. I don't necessarily know if it's a sweetness that I really would appreciate, but it's not detracting from that, from the base cider. It's like I said, it's just taking some of that dryness away. So overall, this is drinkable cider if you're a cider drinker. Like I said, I think the thing I've not tried a lot of kits. I've not tried a lot of kit ciders. I've never actually brewed one myself, but I have tried them, in the brew shops, and people have made them. And the thing I generally always found was that they were ridiculously sweet. And I see a lot of comments about them being artificially sweet. You get their sweeteners, liquid sweeteners and stuff that go into them quite often. Either added to the kit when you're making it, or it's already in the kit. And you tend to get that, noticeably artificial sweetness in the brew, which a lot of people don't like, and a lot of people can't tolerate. That little bit of lactose, even with the stevia there, it's giving you it's taking that dryness away, so you're getting out of that dry, cider if you need it a little bit more, and it's still keeping the character without giving you an artificial flavour. So I think this is a decent cider, and again, it's a strawberry cider. So without going in, I've never had it. I don't think I've ever had a strawberry cider before. So the actual hit flavour is not exactly known to me. So it certainly would be interesting to see how the plain cider in this range goes, which I've still got inside, which I'll be doing down the track some stage. But yeah, it seems like it's a decent brew. Like I said, I would say if you wanted it sweeter, then you probably might need to double that lactose addition. Like I think plenty of people would enjoy that as it sits. But if you do want it, if you do like it sweet, then you're going to need a little bit more. So either more lactose, or as quite a lot of people do, even with the standard, with quite often a lot of the kits, a lot of the packs, is run a simple sugar syrup and add that into it when you're serving it, just to bring that sweetness in. So you'd actually get that sugary sweetness. I see people would say take now to use actual orange, actual apple juice to sweeten it, but apple juice, it's sweet, but it doesn't have the same effect. I don't think it really does, but you can do it. But I think, yeah, a little bit, double that sort of dose. So 2 teaspoons in a 750ml bottle. Calculate that over a batch and work out how it is before you bottle. Or just, put it straight into your bottles as you go. That's entirely up to yourself how you go about it. You can batch your lactose up with it before you can ferment if you wanted to. But the brew overall, I think it goes all right. Now I'm not going to sit here and say it's sensational. Is it the best kit cider that I could possibly brew? I can't say so because I don't have the experience. But from what I have tasted, it's certainly getting your brew up there. I've done ciders from scratch here on the channel. I've done 2 ciders with straight up juices, which makes a good cider, but again makes quite a dry cider. And again, this is not quite in that same sort of ballpark. It's different. So I think, like if you like your ciders, you're making ciders at home. I think it's worth giving it a crack if you can get hold of it. It comes out of New Zealand Brewing Co. or Beverage Co. Who are the same the suppliers of Brick Road. So you should be able to get this at anywhere that stocks Brick Road beer tins. The Southern Tap, there's an apple, strawberry. They've got a ginger beer and a which I saw just last night. Pierre at Simple Home Brew, he's dropped the ginger beer on. He dropped the video for Patreons last night, so that'll be coming soon. A review on that, on how that goes, which I think could be interesting, and also a hard lemonade. Again, these are all apple based, so they're a little different, but yeah, I think it's worth having a crack. This ciders you think. Look, I'm going to give. I'll give it a thumbs up. It's not a. Look, I'm not cheering. I'm not saying this is fantastic, but it's certainly a viable option. I think it gives it an option that potentially isn't really out there for the cider brewers at the moment. There's not a lot of massive amount of choices. This is supposedly a premium one. I think it goes all right. I think it's worth having a go. So all good. So if you've got any comments or any questions, stick them down the bottom. Patrons of the channel, thank you for your support as always. There's a link down the bottom to Patreon if you're interested, helping out the channel. If you subscribe, thank you. If you aren't, hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell so you get notified when there's a bloody new video coming up. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up down the bottom there. But anyway, that's me, Little John. So I'll see you in the next video. We're brewing beer, talking beer, drinking beer, talking, drinking, brewing, drinking, talk, whatever, or cider, or bourbon, or whatever. Till then, good brewing.